This is the second of two videos walking you through debt investments for a bond that's considered held to maturity. So I specifically saved this video for the portion of the problem that says on 12/1 of 2013 we sell our bonds, and in exchange we receive $99,800 in cash. Now the first thing we should be asking right off the bat is, if it's held to maturity, why are we selling it prior to maturity? Because that kind of contradicts what we said up front, was that we had the intent and the ability to hold to maturity. But you know, it could happen. If it does happen where we sell it before maturity for some reason, here's how you would account for it. So before we can go ahead and take care of the sale, we should figure out what the current carrying value of the bond is at the time of the sale. So when we start out up front, bought the bond for $95,027. This was the purchase price. And so year one went by and we amortized the bond a little bit. So we amortized the bond between the difference of the interest revenue and the cash received. So 1502 is, so this would be year one amortization. And so at this point, at the end of year one, we have a carrying value greater than the purchase price. And we do this again at year two. So at the end of year two, we amortized a little bit more of the bond. So this is year two amortization. Now, what makes this part of the problem challenging is if we held the bond to maturity, we would do the same thing for the end of year three, and we would have a carrying value of the bond at the face value. But we sold it, look when we sold it, December 1st of 2013. And so if you look at the year for 2013 we have here on our amortization schedule, this is supposed to represent 12 months. So the amount we amortize right here, which would be 1827, is 12 months worth of interest. But we sold it at the end of the 11th month. So we can only take 11/12ths of this amount. And so here we should really break this thing into two steps. And so step one is to accrue interest, because before we sell it, we have more interest that we're going to have to take into consideration, 11/12ths worth. So the interest receivable, I would debit interest receivable for I'm not going to get 8,000. I'm only going to get 11/12ths of 8,000. So I'm going to get interest receivable 7333. And then in my held to maturity amount goes up. So held to maturity. So in other words, the carrying value of the bond increases. The carrying value of the bond increases not by the difference between this and this, but 11/12ths of that amount, 1666. So we first record interest revenue for 11 months, which is going to be those two combined. So now I've got the right amount of interest revenue. Notice I'm not going to book this extra 818 of revenue because I didn't own it for that last month. So I accrue the interest. Then I should post over to here this 1666.67, because this would be the year three amortization. So when I go ahead and I sell the bond, I have a value on my records. My carrying value is $99,849, and I got $99,800 in exchange. So here's what's going to happen. Now this kind of complicates things, this interest receivable here. You could make the argument that, look, the person that bought this bond from me on 12/1 of 2013 gave me a little more than this. They would have given me the $99,800 plus they owe me the $7333 in interest. But I didn't mention anything about that in the problem. So I'm going to assume here, when I'm crafting the disposition of the bond, that this $99,800 is for the bond plus this interest that I'm owed. So I'm only getting one check, $99,800. Now watch what happens here. So 2 would be the disposition, or it's called the sale of the bond. So when I sell the bond, I'm going to get cash. I'm going to get cash of $99,800, because that's what the problem tells me I get, $99,800. Now I'm also going to have to show that I don't get this interest receivable. So I'll remove the interest receivable, or you could say I did get it, but I got it as part of this cash payment. So I'll just skip a line here. Interest receivable goes away for 73.33, whatever, and some change. plus my bond now, if I sell it, it's on my records for $99,849. That bond, that held to maturity investment, goes away for its full value because I sold the whole thing. And now if you add your debits and your credits, you're off. So we plug the difference. Since there's no other information to go off of here, this has to be the loss on the sale of the debt investment. And at this point, we would hope our debits equal our credits. Oops, got a circular reference here. Hold on. And they do by 75 cents. We're off. That's because I cut it off there. So this is the actual. Well, both pieces are important, but when I sell the bond prior to maturity, the idea is I remove the long-term asset, the held to maturity asset, from my records by crediting. I get rid of this short-term asset, the interest receivable. I show my cash coming in, and the difference would be the gain or loss on the sale of investment.